Yes, I know. How have you gone this long without playing Pokémon Emerald? But I have finally played it. I just wrapped up my first playthrough of the game and I wanted to give my full review of the game coming from the perspective of someone who has somehow gone all this time without playing it, and whether or not I think the game still holds up today. This review will be all recorded in one sitting and will be fully unscripted with just simple bullet points for me to look at and try and paste this review off so you get a full raw reaction to my thoughts on finishing the game, which I completed about 30 minutes before hitting record on this video. But without further ado, please enjoy the review. Hello everyone and welcome to a new PC video here today. It's very rare I have to talk into the camera, so forgive me if I keep looking at myself and rather directly into the camera. And also forgive me for the spud quality of this video. I do not have a actual camera setup, so I do just use the one that's on my laptop. I cannot afford to get a whole camera setup as of yet, so you're going to have to put up with the spud quality as much as it may get annoying. And also, I apologise if you guys can hear the fan in the background. It is currently roasting in the UK at the minute, so I do have to have a fan on. I will try my best to edit it out in the editing software, so you should not hear it, but if you can hear a muffled fan in the background, I apologise. But yes, let's get the obvious question out of the way at the start of the vid so I don't get a million comments asking me about it. The reason I have not played Pokémon Emerald in the 20-odd years I have been alive. Basically, one of the first, if not the first game I ever played was Pokémon Red back on the Game Boy. I got Pokémon Red and Blue and a Game Boy as a gift off my nan and granddad after I didn't die during an operation pretty much when I was 3 years old. I survived the operation, so as a kind of a, here you go, here's a get well better present or whatever, they gave me a full Game Boy Color with Pokemon Red and Blue on them. They didn't know they were basically the same game because obviously they're old, they didn't really grow up with games or anything, so they got me Pokemon Red and Blue for the Game Boy, which I still have all games included in a nice little tub with some nice Mickey Mouse children's stickers on it from when I was a kid. This is literally the box I carried them everywhere in. As a kid I didn't have an actual case. Well, let me quickly show you guys this now. I still have my Game Boy Color with all my old Game Boy games on it. I won't show you all the ones that I have here, but I have obviously got Pokemon Gold, the original, on the Game Boy cartridge. I've got a load of random games like Buzz Lightyear, Star Command and stuff like that, but I have Pokemon Yellow, the original Pokemon Yellow games, Battleship the game, Toy Story 2 the game, Pit Fighter for £2 even back in like the early 2000s, Shrek Combat Fighting Arena or something like that. I can't remember what this game was even about. Jungle Book the game, which I didn't really play, but I own that one. Terminator 2 on the Game Boy. Donkey Kong Country, the original Donkey Kong Country, is a classic that everyone likes. And then, of course, the Game Boy Color itself with Pokemon Red, the original, still in it. It actually did not have a back for about 15 years until recently I bought a back for it. I don't really plan on playing the Game Boy original Color again because I do not have a Game Boy Advanced. But yes, it didn't have a back on it. I used sticky tape to hold the batteries in for about 15 years. I lost the back as a kid, but I recently, just for the sake of it, since I'm putting this away, I'm probably not going to be on it again for a long time, bought a back. That's why the back looks a completely different colour from the rest of it. It's a newer back. But yes, this is the original, the first ever gaming thing I owned as a kid, the Game Boy Color with Pokemon Red on it. But basically, they bought me this, and then the next handheld I got was the PSP and the Nintendo DS. I skipped the Game Boy Advance generation. I didn't really know what it was as a kid. I didn't really have any friends that had it. So I pretty much skipped the whole Game Boy Advanced generation. Let me put all these back in the box, 1 second. But yes, I skipped pretty much the entire Game Boy Advance generation. I did not own them, I did not play them, until about a year ago. Basically, I did a 3-year university course, which was very, very stressful. I did a video game design and development course. It was 3 years. I moved away to university to go and study that. I have graduated. I was one of the only 2 people on my course to graduate out of the like 15 or so people that took the course. But I graduated, have my degree, got my diploma or whatever. But I was doing about 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, so I pretty much didn't really play any video games for 2 or so years. But I was so excited to get back to playing games after I graduated, and since I now had a disposable income, which I didn't have growing up, I bought myself, for the first time ever, a Game Boy Advance. Now, I got myself the nice, shiny red one. I really love this one. I got myself a nice red Game Boy Advanced, the one I always looked at and really wanted. I got this for a steal as well. I originally thought it was a scam. I went on eBay and saw someone put a Game Boy Advanced with the case as well, the original Game Boy Advance SP case. The Game Boy Advanced with the case and every Pokemon game that launched on the Game Boy Advance, all on eBay in one bundle for about £50, which is ridiculous. Secondhand shops sell one of the games for about £30–40 a piece, and I got pretty much all 4 or 5 of them, plus the Game Boy Advance, plus the case for about £50. It must have been like an elderly person selling their grandkids Game Boy Advance because they haven't played it in a while, or just someone that doesn't know how much all this is worth. But if I was going to buy all this at the price it usually goes for, just the red limited edition Game Boy Advance on its own would probably be about £50 to £100. Then the case would probably be about 20 quid. And then, I don't know if you can make that out in the video, but behind the little like, kind of like padding is all the Pokemon games. I got even the ones that are like basically duplicates. So I got Pokemon Sapphire. So I got Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. We got Pokemon Omega, not Omega, but Pokemon. God, I can't get these out of the case. They're very tightly packed in it. Yes, I got Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, and then the one the whole video's about. I got my copy of. I can't get this up. My copy of Pokémon Emerald, which is the thing the whole video's about. So yes, 5 games plus the Game Boy Advance SP plus the case for £50, which is the price of literally one game in the modern day, if that. Cannot argue more than that. Best bargain deal I've ever received. I'm never going to sell it, but if I did, I could probably flip that for probably like a £200–300 profit. Ridiculous. But yes, Pokemon Emerald is what this whole video is about. Sorry I went on for a bit long. I will obviously try and cut bits out here and there. But yes, we're probably about 5 minutes into the vid now. Let's get actually on with the review. So yes, I finally played Pokemon Emerald. I went with Emerald because obviously Ruby and Sapphire are the basically like Diamond and Pearl of this generation. And then Emerald, from what I've heard, is just the 2 of these stories kind of combined into one game, but with all the legendaries and everything else and all the good stuff and a few new nice little features in there as well. So I went with Emerald. I may do a playthrough of Ruby and Sapphire at some point. I won't review those, but I may just, if I choose to replay Emerald, I might not replay Emerald, I might replay one of these 2. So I get, you know, a kind of new experience. I have also played through my copy of Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Game Boy Advance as well, which was very nice. But yes, Pokemon Emerald. Okay, choose which starter. Okay, so the game starts. I quite like the intro. I like that you're on the truck. You're not just living in a town beforehand. You move in. I don't really think that really happens in many other games other than I think Scarlet. But yes, you come from a different town. You weren't raised there. This isn't your professor or your anyone. It's just a new town you've moved to, a new region. But yes, you get off the truck. It was quite cool. You choose your time, yada yada yada. You do all that stuff. And then I went to the, obviously you get to choose your starter Pokemon. Now, with this generation, it was unlike other Pokemon games I played where I went in blind, not really knowing anything about the starters. I obviously have known for a long time what the choices in starters were. So I didn't necessarily choose, like, necessarily my favourite starter, or what I would have chose if I went in blind. I was choosing it based off of a few different factors. So my favourite starter in terms of looks is Torchic. I usually always choose the fire type. My favourite colour is red, so anything red and orange and fiery usually is the one I go for. So Torchic is a Pokemon that I was going to choose originally if I didn't play the game like I did now where I know all this beforehand, but I'm not a huge fan of its evolution forms. I think it loses the kind of nice chicken adorable vibe, and I kind of wish it would have kind of become like a fat chocobo from Final Fantasy but flame version rather than what it did become. Just so it kept the adorable bird vibe and didn't become just like a humanoid male like Pokemon. I don't like when Pokemon become really, really humanoid too much of the time. And then Trico. Trico has probably one of my favourite first and general evolution lines as a whole. I'm just not... I like grass types, but they're not usually the starting type I pick. But with Mudkip, I really like all 3 of its evolution forms. I think it has a generally clean evolution line. And also, I heard this Pokemon was very, very powerful, so I wanted to see why people said this is the usual starter to go for if you want to sweep the game. Just so I could see, you know, the power behind this Pokemon. If I was only going to play this once this year, I wanted to try the one everyone was hyping up about. So I went with Torchic. No, I went with Mudkip. Now, one thing I immediately noticed with this game is, good god, it is pretty. Pixel art has always been my favourite art style. Back when I studied digital art in high school, I would always try and do pixel art as the art style I chose whenever they let me have free reign of what I made. Whenever I make a game in my spare time, when I'm trying to practice my skills I learned in uni, usually pixel art style I go for. I absolutely adore anything in pixel art, so I was very glad to go back and play a new pixel art game I hadn't touched before in the Pokemon franchise. And this one I don't know if it's my favourite, but it's definitely my top 3 in terms of just pixel art style. I think the sprites are pretty much perfect in this game. They all look so clean. Just the ones when you're fighting things in combat, just the sprites look so cool and menacing, and this is pretty much the art style I wish Pokemon would have sticked to for the remainder of the Pokemon games. I think it is beautiful. The only one sprite I don't like, I do not know what happened with Rayquaza in your inventory. Like, why does he look like this? Why does Rayquaza have such a derp head? Like, his head looks wrong here. Is it just me? Like, something about this head. I only saw it about an hour ago before I started recording this when I caught my Rayquaza. But what is this? Why does it look so dumb? I think a lot of people don't really pay attention to in the Pokemon games, me included. I usually skip dialogue. I tried this time to pay at least some attention to the core plotline that was going on, and I quite like the original spin this game had, having 2 teams instead of 1, and they were kind of battling each other, so you kind of saw them interacting, and then you took them kind of both out, and then they kind of team up at the end or whatever. Like, I thought that was quite cool. I kind of like it. I like how there were 2 legendaries and then a third bigger legendary, which kind of scared off the other 2 legendaries. Rayquaza descended with like a really cool pre-rendered cutscene to scare off the other 2 legendaries. I've just noticed there's a hole in my shirt, but ignore that. But yes, I generally like the whole just general storyline. I thought it was decent. I don't mind it. I like that you keep occasionally getting ambushed by May, and I'm really bad with names. There's Wallace as well. He kind of kept rocking up from time to time. But yes, overall, I quite like it. The 8 gyms I thought were generally pretty decent. I quite enjoyed just the general story as a whole. And now, the struggles I had with the game. I did not find EXP share until pretty much the Elite Four. Well, I think the 8th gym was around where I found EXP share. I just completely missed it. I delivered the parcel and I forgot to go back and check what the reward was, which turns out it was an EXP share. So I went through the game with my starter being about 30-40 levels higher than the rest of my Pokemon. I did occasionally try and grind a few of my other team up a bit, but the starter did mainline it on his own for most of the game, until I got to, I think it was the second to last gym, whichever one's like a tag battle. Then I got my shit absolutely rocked. I got eviscerated in that gym. I lost about 5 or 6 times, tried grinding up my other Pokemon, but it was near impossible at that point since it was so slow, just they were not remotely trained for combat. But it was all because it could have been so much easier, but I made the mistake of I thought Surf hurt my own team as well, because I'm pretty sure that's how it works in Gen 4 in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Surf kind of blasts all Pokemon, including your partner, and I didn't want to do that because my partners would 100% die in 1 hit of Surf. So I refrained from using Surf, which was my best water move, and I think my only water move at the time that was on my starter. So I refrained from using it, so I was just getting destroyed because my normal moves and the stuff that were on Marshtomp were not even slightly phasing the Claydol, I think it was called. Yes, it was the Claydol. I was about to say Spiritomb, but the Claydol was just levitating and eviscerating the living hell out of my entire team. I lost like 5 or 6 times, and then I thought, screw it. My party may die, but my main Pokemon can just surf this, and I did it. It didn't hit my own team, and I was so annoyed, but it wiped the floor with the entire gym. My Marshtomp survived all like 6 Pokemon they throw, and I won. So that was the main struggle I had on the 8 gyms. I think the second gym I also struggled on quite a bit, the one where it's kind of dark and it expands. At that point I only really had Mudkip and Poochyena, or Hyena. They were my only 2 real Pokemon at that point, so I did not really have much. I kind of got wiped a bit in that as well. I think maybe 2 losses, 3 losses till I grinded up and learned some better attacking moves. And then wiped the floor with that. So 8 gyms wise, didn't struggle too much. But now we move on to the Elite Four. The Elite Four is it's not my favourite Elite Four. It's pretty forgettable. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for that. I don't really remember the 4 trainers that well. I don't remember their names. I obviously know Wallace is the champion, but I do not remember the trainers that much. The first trainer, my starter, 1-hit KO'd everything using pretty much Surf and Waterfall, just steamrolled. Pretty sure it was the same for the second trainer, just 1-hit, 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 with EXP share on one of my other team. By the way, here's the team that I finished the game with, so this was the stats I had when I beat the Elite Four. I've not done any battles since, so this is the finished team that I won the Elite Four with. My starter did most of the work, but a few of the Pokemon actually got some good KOs in there as well. But yes, ow, my neck's really sore. But yes, I went through the whole Elite Four. It was fun, it was good. Was not my favourite Elite Four. My favourite Elite Four still definitely has to go to Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Cynthia, I just think as a champion and just generally that whole Elite Four as a whole is not going to get beat for me. Very close second with Red and Blue. I think that with your like rival being the person at the end and stuff is also quite perfect. And the kind of debate where you beat the previous head of the Elite Four thinking that's the end and then just the debate. But yes, Pokemon Emerald. The first two trainers I sweeped, and then I think it's the third or the fourth trainer, whichever one's the Dragon trainer, took me about 5 or 6 tries to beat. And the few times I had them very close, they just kept full restoring, which was really starting to frustrate me. I think my two main criticisms with this game is too many status ailments and too many recovery items. I feel like most fights in the game I was either confused or paralyzed or a mix of the two, and it started getting so annoying. Most fights I was losing just because I was hitting myself in confusion 3-4 times in a row of a Pokemon I would otherwise one-bomb. I was now just hitting myself 4 or 5 times while they slowly twiddled me down or poisoned me or did something to twiddle my health down. And that started to get really frustrating, but it was really brought to a forefront in the final battles, where that Dragon trainer just kept full restoring and recovering and doing other stupid stuff, while just generally just debuffing me and aiding me into all high health. But yes, I eventually, now that I had an EXP share, did about 5 hours of grinding, got my whole team up to generally level 40 or so, just so they could at least help a bit in the fights. So I could at least use those to fall back on if my starter fell. And then we got onto Wallace, who again, I hate that he uses full restores. I had one of his, like, his best Pokemon, I can't remember which one I was stuck on, but one of his 6 I really struggled with. I saved the game beforehand, so on attempt 2 I think I beat him, but I was really struggling on one of his Pokemon, and when I eventually managed to twiddle it down, he full restored it, and then I somehow managed to twiddle it down a second time, and he full restored it a second time, and I was like, yeah, you're the champion, but this is why you're the champion, because you just buy full restores. I feel like that should be a thing in Pokemon. The Elite Four should have a rule where all the gyms as a whole should just have a general rule of no one's allowed items. It's just the Pokemon, how well have you trained your Pokemon? That's the whole point, like, how good are you as a trainer? This is a test. And I think items kind of sully that. I've always wanted Pokemon games to have the major boss battles have no items. Like, use items as much as you want in the open world or random trainers in unofficial Pokemon battles, but when it's an actual battle for the championship, the champion should not be able to use like 50 full restores and just status curing moves and stuff, because it's like, this isn't really who's got the stronger Pokemon here, it's who's got the highest health Pokemon who can endurance test the other ones. Yes, I digress. I beat the champion, I became the champion, here's my trainer card, and here's my team. Generally, just a good experience. It was decent, apart from the annoyance of the status ailments. This was a... I've been holding Leaf Green this whole time. This is Pokemon Emerald. But yes, generally a good experience combat-wise. I loved all the battles, I like a good chunk of the characters, the gyms I thought were 8 good gyms. I like that your dad's one of them. We finally have a Pokemon protagonist who has a father. It is about time. I think this is the only one in the franchise from what I can think of. But yes, we finally have a champion that actually... Not a champion. We finally have a player character who actually has a father figure. It's not just the mum. Like, you actually have a dad. He rocks up from time to time, you know, he gives you phone calls, you battle him, you prove that you're stronger than him, and all that stuff. That was good. That factored in really nice. But yes, story as a whole, ending with the Elite Four, I thought was really good. And then, what I did 1 or 2 hours ago, I went to finally go catch myself a Rayquaza. And I'm probably... I don't even know if I'm going to get hate for this. Rayquaza, I love. It's one of my top 5 legendaries of all time. Rayquaza, I love, 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 love. That was probably the thing I was looking forward to the most of Emerald, was finally just going to catch a Rayquaza. Rayquaza, Kyogre, and Groudon are 3 of my top 10 legendaries. I love generally all the legendaries in this game. So, when I went to go catch Rayquaza, I was really excited. And I really, really do not like Sky Pillar. I thought it was terrible. I do not like the stupid bike puzzle. It felt like everything in there was just designed to be annoying. It's all trial and error, so you keep biking across and realizing, oh, I hit a rock, I've got to do it 1 tile higher, and you bike across again, and you're like, oh, I can't physically gain enough speed now to do the next one, so I have to do that turn all in one go. And it's just 5 or 6 tries on each floor until you figure out the exact bike route is the only one route you can take to get to the finish line, and then sometimes you'll overshoot it and fall back down. When you've done the whole puzzle, you've just not hit break fast enough, so you fell back down again. And then I got really unlucky and I kept getting 3 or 4 Pokemon encounters every time I failed, so this one thing took me about 15 minutes to go up like 3 floors. It was ridiculous, and it completely sullied the catching Rayquaza, because I had a Master Ball. which I also didn't find while going through, same as the EXP share, I didn't find that while going around either. I went the correct route on accident through the Aqua Hideout the first time, did not end up accidentally finding the Master Ball room with the Vault Orbs. So I had to Google where's the Master Ball, because I didn't get it, and I assumed it was like just an NPC I didn't talk to. So I went back, got the Master Ball, so I had 15 minutes of setup of annoyance to get to this Rayquaza, and then I just went, and then caught it, immediately GG, no battle, just caught it. So it was kind of anticlimactic, and since I'd already beat the Elite Four, and I have other games to play and other videos to make, I can't really play this game too much more yet, so I'm not really going to get any use out of the Rayquaza. I just like the fact that I have it. At some point, I'll probably go re-challenge the Elite Four with my new Rayquaza, but I don't really like how we got it, but we got it. We got it. It's still a beautiful legendary, probably the best shiny legendary that exists in my opinion. It's a perfect shiny form. If I was doing that episode where for everyone that is watching this which does not know, I have a series on the channel where I redesign shinies. It's the longest running series. It was the first series I started pretty much. We're going through the whole national decks, redesigning every single shiny form of every Pokemon using my own color scheme and artwork. But yes, we're currently about 60 Pokemon at the minute to the Kanto decks. But when I eventually get around to Rayquaza, that would have probably been what I would have chose for its shiny design if I didn't know it was that beforehand. But I'm not topping that, let's be real honest. I might color swap it, maybe make it a full white dragon with like black lines. I might try and do something with it, but I have zero clue how I'm going to even try and improve on that shiny design. I don't think it's possible. Same with the shiny Charizard, there was not much I could do with that. But yes, that is my general thought on the battle progression of the game. Very good, very, very decent. General other thoughts on the game. Area-wise, I think this actually has some of the best in the series, which I was quite impressed about. I thought since it was one of the older games, the towns would be quite simple, like in Pokemon Red and like Gold, where the towns are fairly simple. They're 2 or 3 houses and don't really have much like depth to them. Like in the newer Pokemon games, like Pokemon Shield, you've got like that beautiful like mushroom town area. And in Pokemon Scarlet, you know, you've got a really big open world, so I didn't think the older game would have that much in terms of cool original town design. But I was really impressed. It probably has my 2nd or 3rd favourite town designs across the whole series. I generally really like the town design. My favourite is probably, I'm awful with names as I previously explained. But the Ash Town, that town which is just covered in dust, I thought that's probably one of my top 3 towns in all of Pokemon. I thought it was just such a cool idea. You walk around and you're kind of painting the town with like your footprint of where you've been, and you can walk around and collect ash and give it to the guy, and you get items for that. Like, it's just a really cool town. Plus, that's where you catch Magcargo, not Magcargo, Magby. The snail fire Pokemon. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on it. It's been on my team for the whole game. Magcargo is the final evolution. What is the first form called? Slugma. Slugma. I'm pretty sure it's called Slugma. Slugma nuts. Yes, you catch Slugma there, which I really like. It's a really good fire type. I was really needing a fire type in my team up until that point, so I caught that. That was really good. You get some cool bits of lore on there. You have the cool, like, gondola thing you go up the hill on. It's just that whole area I thought was pretty much perfectly done. There's also the jungle town. I don't think you stay there long enough. You're there for maybe 2 minutes. You go straight to the gym and leave. I thought they should have done more in that jungle town. It was so cool. I haven't even seen what's in half the houses, so I probably missed some cool stuff there as well. As I vaguely hinted to early on, this was not by any means a full 100% playthrough. It was just a very basic, get my 6 Pokemon, go through the gyms, beat the Elite Four, catch my favourite Legendary, and end it there. Because I do obviously have like 2 or 3 vids to make a week, and I'm playing a lot of other Pokemon games hunting for shinies currently, because I'm trying to catch a shiny in every Pokemon game. So I can't just play, I'm picked up Fire Red again, I can't just play Pokémon Emerald, that's not really good. I can't just play Pokémon Emerald at the minute. But I will obviously play it again, because it was a phenomenal game for its time. Very good Pokemon game. But yes, I do wish you spent more time in some of the towns. But, God, I'm drawing a blank here. What's my point again? Yeah, town-wise, it has very beautiful towns. I really like generally all of them. Design of a map as a whole I thought was really cool. I liked how you get Dive, which I really think they need to bring back again. That's just a really cool HM that we haven't really seen anything of since. I would love, especially in Pokemon Scarlet, I don't even know if it's in it yet, I've not beat the game, but if it doesn't have a dive, it should have a dive. Just the ability just to go under the water, because now we have a really big ocean with Pokemon in the overworld. So if you could dive underwater and it'd go really dark and you see like a whale lord in the distance, and like you could actually go underwater and have a whole scuba section with items you can find on there, and you can see tentacles and stuff swimming in a full 3D Pokemon game. Hiccups, goddammit. I think that would be so cool, and I think we really need stuff like Dive again to come back and be more prevalent in the franchise. But as a whole, I just generally really like the game. I might make some shorts on it in the future, talking about Pokemon I like from the generation. I've done my favourite Pokemon of Gen 1, and I think I did Gen 2. If I didn't, that will be coming in the next few weeks. But I will probably make my favourite and least favourite Pokemon video on Gen 3 in the next month or so. So if you like hearing my thoughts on this, stay tuned and you'll probably hear my favourite Pokemon from the gens soon. But yes, that's generally my thoughts on Pokemon Emerald. I don't know what I'd give it out of 10. I don't know what the ranking is. Like, is 10 my favourite Pokemon game and 1's my least, or am I going based off games in general? But I'd say it's probably it's in my top 10 favourite Pokemon games for sure. Don't know if it's in top 5. I've never actually tried making a top 5 Pokemon games. My favourite is still obviously Gen 4. I think just the amount I've played that game probably eclipses all of the Pokemon games combined. I have finished Pokemon Diamond about 50 to 100 times at least. I binged that game so much as a kid, and I would still very much like to do more playthroughs of it again. The first shiny I got in my trying to catch a shiny in every Pokemon game in the series one was also on Pokemon Diamond. If you guys didn't know, the very first video I think I uploaded to the channel was I started a challenge where I want to catch one Pokemon in every... I want to catch one shiny in every single Pokemon game. Currently, we have only done Pokemon Diamond. I don't play too much Pokemon in my spare time. I do have a lot of other games I'm playing and a lot of manga I'm reading and anime that I'm watching. But the one or so playthrough I'm doing of a Pokemon game in the background each month, I will just naturally eventually catch a Pokemon in every game, surely. But we've done Pokemon Diamond so far. I believe we caught a Cascoon, which evolved into a Dustox. So we have a shiny Dustox in Pokemon Diamond, which is very nice. I was hoping to get one in Emerald because I did about 5 hours of EXP grinding in Victory Road to get my team up enough to beat the Elite Four, so I probably encountered about 2,000 Pokemon in my time grinding EXP in this game. I didn't find a shiny. I probably had like a 30-40% chance playing this game with how many random encounters I had, and sadly we did not find a shiny. I've not been using any repels on any Pokemon playthrough I've been doing for the last few months, so the fact I've only found one shiny so far is quite sad because I've definitely found way over odds in terms of how many random encounters I've had. So I'm doing whole playthroughs of these games without a single repel, and I'm encountering as many Pokemon as I can. I'm not running around grass patches. I'm running through every grass patch I see to get to my point A, point B. I'm trying not to fly as much as possible, so I'm really sad that I'm not finding... oh shit, I dropped my phone. So I'm really sad that I'm just not finding any shiny Pokemon. But yes, that will about cover it for this. I'd probably give the game... I don't even know. 10 would be Pokemon Diamond for me, just the best Pokemon can be, in my opinion. 1 would be like... Is there a 1 Pokemon game? 1 would be just like, I don't even count it as a Pokemon game, I guess. I'd probably give it like a 7. A nice solid 7. I think it still holds up today. If you guys have not played Pokemon Emerald and you're a huge fan of Pokemon and you played all the modern games, this will feel very refreshing going back to it after playing the modern Pokemon games. A 7 or an 8 is probably fitting, compared to 1 being the best, of course. But yes, I'd probably give this a solid 7 or an 8. It's still a really good Pokemon game. I obviously haven't done all the content. I might go back and do Battle Tower. I've heard that's pretty good, and that's meant to be like the big final challenge. So I will probably go back and do Battle Tower. I have not caught Kyogre or Groudon yet. I'll probably go and catch those. I think I chose red as the colour that when my mum asked. I heard beforehand that she says choose red or blue, and that decides if you see Latios or Latias. So whichever one the red one is, I think it's Latias is red. So... I will go catch the 3 other legendaries in my spare time at some point. In terms of full-length videos on the channel, I would like to apologise to all of you that I've not been uploading full-length videos. Full-length videos on this channel do very, very badly. I don't think YouTube like you uploading full-length videos on a channel which is primarily shorts. Since it's kind of deemed me a shorts channel, it doesn't tell people when I upload full-length videos. I've had a few comments on the previous full-length videos of like a month or 2 after upload of subscribers saying they didn't even know I uploaded full-length videos. It didn't recommend it to them even though they're subscribed, and my last 2 full-length videos I think got like 10 views each, whereas the shorts get 400 to sometimes like 6,000 views each. So like full-length videos don't do very good, but it doesn't mean I don't want to upload them. I still really like making them. It's just I've had so many shorts ideas. I have a full Word doc of shorts I want to make, and there's over 100 on there currently. I have about 2 years worth of shorts if I make 1 or 2 a week to make. So yes, plus the shiny redesign series is still like 500 videos like remaining on that to go yet, so several years worth of content there to go. But in terms of full-length videos, this is the big one, I hyped up that I had a video coming a few months back. This was it. I bought the Game Boy and I bought the games for it, and I was going through a full review of this. If you guys have any more questions of my thoughts on Pokemon Emerald in the comments, let me know. This was just a general, broad review, but if you have any specifics, like what did I think about a specific gym leader, what did I think about a specific fight in the game, or did I do something, did I find a secret item, did I do this, let me know cool stuff I can still do in Pokemon Emerald, and I will try it out. The next full-length video will probably be in about a month, maybe. I might do another one before that. I do want to try and get back into full-length videos. But for those of you guys that did not see the recent short, I did buy the Pokemon manga. I've watched a few of the Pokemon animes, but I've never read the manga, and I've always been super excited to start it. So I do have the first omnibus. It's 3 volumes. This is a very, very thick manga. I won't be reading it yet. I have a few other manga that I'm currently reading. The 2 being, for any of you that are interested, I'm currently reading the first omnibus of the original Yu-Gi-Oh manga. I've gotten about a quarter of the way through it at the minute. That's pretty good so far. It's absolutely nothing like the anime, which I knew heading into it, but it's still very good. And then one thing that's not exactly manga, it is a light novel. I'm currently reading L Change the World, which is a Death Note spin-off, based on, I think, the live-action movies rather than the anime. But yes, I'm quite enjoying this so far as well. I'm about a third of the way-ish through this book, but this one is not a manga, it is a full text book. I believe it's a light novel. But yes, they're the 2 books I'm reading at the minute, so once those 2 are done, I will start Pokemon Adventures, the manga, and I will make a full-length review. It won't be as long as this video, it'll probably be about 5 to 10 minutes, just summarising my general thoughts and where I think it's going to go from there. If I buy any future books, I'll probably do a review of each of the omnibuses. I plan on buying the big chunky ones each time, because they look really cool. This is obviously Pokemon Red, and then I think the second omnibus is Blue, Green, and then it just goes through all the Pokemon games, which is really nice. But yes, if you guys would like to see more review-style content, I could review all the Pokemon games if you guys wish, if you guys like hearing my thoughts. But this has been going on for about 30-40 minutes so far, and it's probably going to take me a day or so to edit. So, thank you all for watching. That's my general thoughts. Is there anything I can think of that I haven't mentioned? I don't think. Again, this is what my team was. Love generally my whole team. I caught a female Ralts, evolved it into a Gardevoir. I had quite fun just going around seeing Pokemon that I've only ever seen memes of, or I've seen vaguely pop up in other games. Just I had fun just generally overall playing this game. I think it still holds up today. Very good game. Very good game. I'm not disappointed at all with my playthrough or my purchase. I'm still very glad I basically got this game for like £5. Yes, thank you all so much for watching. For those of you that are curious, yes, that is the Leviathan X from God of War. It's very hard to balance against that wall, so I cannot pick it up to show it fully on screen. If you guys would like to see a short going over that. And yes, I have a lot of replicas and stuff in my collection. Pretty much every year for Christmas, friends are always buying me like replicas of stuff, or just generally that. So I have a few swords and helmets and stuff in my collection. But yes, that is the Leviathan X from the new 2 God of War games. I absolutely love it. It is made of steel, which is very cool. But yes, that is the Leviathan X. I did not just put it there for this video. That is where it usually is normally, and this is where my laptop is normally. It just happens to be in the shot. There is whole ornament shells in that direction. If I was trying to be cool, I would just turn the camera that way. But yes, if you guys would like to see my collection, I would gladly make either a few shorts or a full-length video going over it. I have no idea how long the video would be. I've got like 100 ornaments and probably like 100 different books and comics and games and stuff. The video would be probably like an hour long. But yes, that is stuff I've accrued over like 20 years on this planet. But yes, thank you all so much for watching my review of Pokemon Emerald. It was more of a ramble than a review, but I have finally played Pokemon Emerald. So all the friends that have been telling me to play this for years, because I've met a few people since buying the Game Boy Advance that saw me buy it and were like, well, you haven't played this? But yeah, it's a really pretty cartridge. But yeah, I'm very glad to have played it. Very good game. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching. As I said, I will try and upload more full-length videos. If there's any specific ones you would like to see, let me know in the comments down below. I will review any of your Pokemon games, or maybe talk about obscure Pokemon games I played, like Pokemon Battle Coliseum on the Wii I really like. But yes, thank you all for watching. I will see you all in the next video. But for now, peace. Don't bully me too hard in the comments, guys. Love you all. Thank you for watching.